Okay, I'm just gonna ask WWE this rather very specific question. Why have you relegated all of the character development, all of the motivations for the characters to be who they are? Why have you relegated all this to limited audiences, exclusives to Raw Talk and Talking Smack, and not like on the actual shows that millions of people are watching? Because this is possibly the most annoying thing I've been seeing lately. Because in two weekly shows that equal up to 5 hours, and that's not even counting NXT. You mean to tell me you don't have time to spend 2 minutes to give a definitive motivation for the characters in your big stories? So what prompted this is actually very, 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 very quite simple. So Ric Flair, Mustafa Ali, Paul Heyman, AJ Styles, and Big E have all been showing up on Talking Smack, Raw Talk, and they've been doing these promos on each other with very big results for fans who watch those shows and who have social media and watching it. But I'm once again asking myself when I see this is why is this not on the TV shows? Why is all this stuff, all this great content and, legitimate character development relegated to other stuff? It's Here's the thing. I know people love being the elite and love all their projects and everything, but that's been one of my biggest criticisms of AEW to some extent. Like I have talked about this on the retrospective, which you'll be seeing later down the road. The rest of the parts when we're able to get things ready, it's a long, arduous process. But I said this repeatedly. Like a lot of character development, a lot of character storylines that go on. Like AEW, like you have 2 hours of content on AEW Dynamite, the big main show, the A show. But then you realize, wait, all the character stuff, a ton of the character stuff, save for select storylines, they're mostly happening on Being the Elite, AEW Dark, the Road Twos, the Countdowns, and that's it. And while AEW Dynamite has enough content to carry itself, which is a good thing, it's also not escaped my wrath and criticisms. So, yeah, like, did WWE think that's how this is going to work? We just take. Here's the thing. I probably could forgive them on this. Like, I can forgive AEW to a minor extent. Let me point that out. I can forgive AEW because AEW has mostly consistently delivered great content every week on Dynamite. Just enough to make you forgive, oh, you have a bunch of stuff going on Dark, on Dark I can also forgive because Dark is also a wrestling show, so yeah, and they have a lot of people on there. But being the elite, that's another thing. But I'm looking at Raw Talk, it's Talking Smack, and SmackDown and Raw. Like Raw, let's be real. Let me be real with you. I look at Raw and I think of only three things really working for it. We have Drew McIntyre's reign, which has been saved from the Goldberg tyranny. So that saved me from talking about Goldberg in a bashing manner. Um, oh my God. You got Bray Wyatt and his stuff with Alexa Bliss and Randy Orton, and you got the mystery surrounding Edge. Three things. That's three products in a 3 hour show, and at best you get probably 45 minutes. If Edge is rumored to go to SmackDown to fight Roman, that means a good 15 minutes of content was taken away from Raw and moved to SmackDown. And we got some emerging stuff going on with Mustafa Ali, a Retribution, going after Kofi Kingston because he looks at Kofi Kingston and says, "You took my spot. I got hurt from doing my job. I had worked my ass off. I was screwed multiple times out of opportunities. Thanks, Brock Lesnar." I'm wondering if they'll do a feud down the road if Brock Lesnar ever comes back. But here's the thing. That's all the stuff we've been getting on Twitter. We have gotten it a couple of times on the pay-per-views, and they are starting to finally put this onto the spotlight. But okay, so look at the Ric Flair storyline they're doing. So if you did not watch Talking Smack or was not paying attention to anything that was going on Talking Smack, just strictly or Raw Talk, just strictly watch Raw, never watch Raw Talk or Talking Smack, and you would be looking at the feud with the storyline with Ric Flair, Lacey, and Charlotte, and you think, oh, Charlotte's dad is being very adultery and very dirty player character again. Whoop-dee, like we really need that. Instead, what does WWE do? Oh, there's a motive for it. There's a motive and explanation for why Ric Flair is doing this to his own daughter and hanging out with Lacey all the time. There's a perfectly logical explanation for this. You have to go watch it on the network. What? So, oh my god, I just realized it. This is Disney's strategy with the Star Wars universe. You know, when you watch the sequel trilogies and you're thinking to yourself, I feel like I'm missing something rather important, like everything is missing. And then you learn, oh, it's all in the books, it's all in the comics. You gotta read all those to understand what's going on here to get a foundation of it. Whereas when I watched the prequels and the original trilogy, I at least got a foundation of what I can work with and make my own conclusions. Or I could use supplement material to build more conclusions. But I didn't have to make it essential. Like, I didn't need to make it essential material like the sequel trilogy when I look at it. But now I look at this and it's like, oh god, this is Disney's strategy. They think if they cut all the good stuff that Raw so desperately needs and slam it all on Raw Talk, they could get away with it. Because Ric Flair on Raw Talk this week did a promo proving once again that the veterans really are having something that the younger generation of wrestlers aren't being allowed to do. And Ric Flair gives a very legitimate, very interesting, very honest to God reasoning why he's doing all this. It's not because he's trying to be a pervert, though I'm pretty sure WWE will try and make it like that down the road. No, what they're doing, Ric Flair states that, oh, I'm not doing this for, like, you know, because she's young, she's awesome, and probably something else that could probably be disturbing, but we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. Where Ric Flair explains, look, Triple H made Charlotte. I didn't make Charlotte like the way she is at this point. I didn't make her like that. I'm going to be done being humble. I'm going to take Lacey Evans under my wing, and I'm going to make her the big star. We're going to get, and instead of overblowing that, well, she should be given everything, he actually gives Lacey some character development, bringing up her Marine background, how she's not afraid to fight, how she's ready to go to war, like her time in the Marines. And saying that we're all gonna start a step at a time. I'm gonna go ahead, get a step at a time with her. She's gonna get a title. She's gonna get a title shot. She's gonna get a reign with the title, and I do see her winning the Royal Rumble in the future. I'm gonna take her under my wing, and we're gonna prove all the naysayers wrong. I'm done being humble. I was one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. I'm gonna prove that I still got it. That I can take someone under my wing. And I was like, oh my fucking god. All this, you could have easily, and please know, this was 2 minutes, 3 minutes. You could have had that all on Raw as a whole. You could have had all that. You could have even made Charlotte come out and have a moment with her father, explain why he's doing this. Or just do a simple, Ric Flair is going to address why he's affiliated himself and betrayed Charlotte, yada yada yada. And actually, like, they could bring up the continuity of, you know, Charlotte disowning Ric Flair. So Ric Flair's like trying to get some degree of payback with her by taking someone under his wing. And Lacey's jumping at the chance because she's going to learn from one of the best. Imagine if all that stuff was put on Raw instead of all the perversions they're clearly trying to make Ric Flair be, that would have fixed a ton of stuff. There's still one major problem with this storyline. Why is it even happening? On the grounds of WWE is a COVID generating hotspot all the time in every place they go to. Why is Ric Flair there when they just had another outbreak for like the 6th time now? I've kind of lost track. It's almost reaching 10 at this point, and no investigation will ever be conducted. Especially since, Andrew Yang is not going to be the Secretary of Labor, so that sucked. But regardless, yeah, I'm just like, oh god. Oh god. So all this stuff, you could show Ric Flair has a character idea. He just did it on Raw Talk. Imagine if that was on Raw. You spared 3, maybe 6 minutes if you wanted to really stretch it with Charlotte involved. You could have done something with it and actually give us more good content on a bogged down, over reproduced, fancy, sterile environment that is WWE Monday Night Raw, and actually give me something good to get behind. But no, we have to go on the network. That kind of waters it down a little bit, because now I had to realize, oh wait, all this is on Raw Talk. It's not on the main show. So really, they could be in their own separate universe, and WWE will just ignore the logic. Even our truth was like, I'm with you, dog. I'm with you. Man, I'm loving this character development stuff. Can I have the character development? In fact, I'm kind of convinced at this point R-Truth is there just to point out the freaking obvious. And I mentioned Big E, AJ Styles, and all this. So Mustafa Ali as well. Mustafa Ali comes on Raw Talk, speaks as part of Retribution, and explains how he is sick and tired of all the veterans and legends who've passed their time are just showing up and getting what they and just demanding a title shot, demanding to take the time from the younger generation. And I'm like, oh god damn it. Why is all the character development being on a network exclusive show? Yes, I know Raw Talk is on for free, but it's still like not everyone goes on the Raw Talk or watches the network or can't watch the network because they're also in rural areas. Like WWE seems to forget that there are rural areas where there's not enough good internet content quality, so they just were like, nah, everyone has internet, so we don't care. Right? We understand how fans work, right? Right? It's just, and then you got Big E and Paul Heyman on SmackDown, doing this talking smack segment where Paul Heyman explains how Big E's such a bigger star than he'll be when he was with the New Day, and Big E's just stunned into silence, like. But you can tell with his eyes that I think Paul Heyman's right. Like, imagine if they did a confrontation segment with the Jey Uso storyline. Imagine if they did this. Big E wants to fight Roman Reigns, but he has to go through Jey Uso. Have Paul Heyman with Jey Uso. Paul Heyman cuts that same promo on SmackDown, and Big E's just stunned into silence and realizing that he is facing an uphill battle, and he can prove that he probably doesn't need the New Day stuff anymore. That he can be a bigger star without the New Day. Imagine if they did that storyline, and it also starts to affect the Raw storyline with Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. Imagine if they did that. Imagine the interesting dynamic that could happen with them, where Big E starts to start thinking he doesn't need the New Day anymore. He's been separated from them on the draft, so he could just strike out on his own without the New Day stuff on him. But no, we gotta take all these interesting ideas and slam them on a talk show. At least SmackDown, it's consistently good, especially like all the character stuff we get now on SmackDown kind of is Sasha Banks and anything Roman Reigns does with people. That's it. And luckily for them, it's 2 hours, whereas Raw is 3 hours. So SmackDown can be a little bit more forgiving, much like AEW can be a little bit more forgiving. But you see my point here? They have so much stuff going on Raw Talk, on Talking Smack, that could have easily been converted into content for Raw and SmackDown very easily. They just had to expand it a little bit for the TV time, but they could make it work. It's just amazing. It's just amazing, isn't it? The WWE clearly knows that this is what fans want, and they put a wall on it, say, oh, you need quality internet connection to watch our stuff. And if we put a paywall behind it, you gotta pay us for all that good content of character development. Isn't that adorable? That WWE could potentially force us to pay for. Oh wait, we actually have to pay for it soon, because once WWE Network, due to their deal with Peacock, goes into effect in March, they can just say, we're gonna move all that stuff on Peacock. You're probably gonna have to pay for it. Congratulations! Character development is now part of gaining experience through payment. Isn't that exciting? Huh? I'm probably losing my mind, aren't I? Because I'm just annoyed more than angry that WWE takes all what they knows that they have all this content that they could put on the main shows and put it on the network, which will soon be going to Peacock, which means you'll have to pay for it, which means you're paying to get character motivations. You're paying to get character development. You're paying to get actual progression in storylines. You're paying for all this when they're struggling to keep up 2 million people on SmackDown, on Raw, especially on Raw. They just recently, this week on post Royal Rumble, they got 1.89 million. Does that not sound like a problem? They're under 2 million now, so they're probably gonna get desperate again. So it's just boggling my mind. WWE has been told you have to keep trying. You have to start trying again. And I don't care if Peacock, I don't care if Fox throws $1 billion your way every 5 years by the networks. They're telling you, Vince, can you try trying again? And they're shoving all of this character development, all this progression, all this stuff that I've been wanting to see on those wrestlers, on the new generation of wrestlers, to be shown, but they're shoving it all on the network. That means we'll have to pay for it soon when Peacock launches, and we don't know if Raw Talking is not going to continue after this. So they could just erase it after Peacock goes through, and then we have nothing. All the character development will then be relegated to Twitter promos and 2 minutes and 20-second videos, or 3-minute videos on Twitter. Yeah, like Kofi Kingston, he cut a fiery promo on Mustafa Ali about the whole how Mustafa Ali should have had Kofi Mania on him, how he should have been the guy to challenge Daniel Bryan in that WrestleMania all those years ago. There, you got a WrestleMania match right there. Well, let's go ahead and put that on the network, and put that on Twitter, and put that on all this other stuff. Let's not actually put it on Raw and SmackDown. That would actually make interesting content for us to get invested in. We could actually start caring about the wrestlers more, other than us feeling sorry for them when they're bogged down by WWE booking management, and Mustafa Ali especially, when they're told, hey, Mustafa Ali's going to win. We're not really going to let him win. We're going to probably beat the hell and risk injury people, because of course we have to do that. We're really in this. Like, I am here, all on here. I have ideas. I get it. I'm just a wrestling fan. I'm just a wrestling fan, and I don't have the credentials, so to speak, to be in the WWE creative room. And even if I got in the creative department, or at the very least was the guy generating ideas for them, I'll be told, don't think so much. Don't give them ideas. We're Hollywood. We don't care. We're Hollywood writers. We're not pro wrestling writers. We don't need those pesky wrestling fans. After all, we're the wrestling industry. We're Hollywood executives. We don't care about the wrestling industry. Vince clearly runs roughshod over everyone. He makes lives miserable. We don't need someone with intelligence actually providing content, providing great ideas. That's just stupid. So yeah, that was okay. Yeah, that was enough ranting. So yeah, as you can tell, I'm royally freaking annoyed right now. So yeah, I'm just annoyed essentially. Oh god. So yeah, so that was a good 20-minute rant I could make. So there you have it. I'm done. This was Neo Reality Entertainment presenting the WrestleVerse of Why the hell? Where's all the character development? It hits on Talking Smack and Raw Talk. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Check out my other channels in the description below and search them up on the search bar. Or stay tuned for more. I'll see y'all next time. Peace. Take care.